Hey crafters, it's Jen Evers with Quality Crafts, and I'm going to show you how to make this really cool napkin fold. Now it springs out and it looks like, you folded it all up like a fancy napkin, and then you'll have to make a belly band that goes around the card to keep it held closed. And you can see my last video for my debut surprise video for my besties, because I did one in there and you'll see it with the belly band. So I'm going to show you how to make that, and you're going to need one 12 by 12 sheet of paper. And FYI, when it's done, it's about 6 by 6. So you're going to need a large envelope for that if you plan on mailing it, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, and if you're following along with me, pause the video here, get your stuff together, because we're going to take off right now. We're going to go ahead, and you won't be able to see the whole thing, but you'll get the gist, because it's really not that hard. We're going to score at 3 and 9. So 3 all the way down, and 9 all the way down. Then turn your paper so that these are running sideways here, the ones we just did, and do 3 and 9 again. 3 and 9. Okay, and while we have it here, we're going to go ahead and fold all those score lines. And however you folded them that time, fold them back the other way this time, all 4 of them. That's just going to make the card easier to manipulate once we get to that point. Alright, next thing we need to do is find out where this square right here that we got in the center, we need to know where the middle of that square is, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to take our fiskars and pull the arm out, and we're going to put our paper in so that this lines up with the 6-inch side here. 6 inches right here. Okay? And then follow your ruler down here, down to 6 inches. And right by that 6-inch point, let me move it up just so you can see me, what I'm doing here. So we're 6 inches over here, and then we're going down, we're following the ruler down to 6. And right where that blade were to slice down the center, right by that 6, you want to make a dot. And it'll kind of sink into where that line is. So now I've got a little dot right there. That's showing me right where the center of that square is. Okay, so we're ready for the next step then. We need that dot so that we know where to fold each one of these corners into the center of the card. So fold that into the center of the card. And this is where you might want to use your bone folder, so you can get a good crease on those. And then you're going to do all 4. So bring your corner up to there. And do the next one. And then the last one. Now I've made several of these, and some people who are really OCD are going to freak out because these don't exactly match in the middle. Don't worry about that. Or they're going to worry that there's a space here. Don't worry about that. You won't notice that after we've gotten done making the card, okay? I promise. So open it back up, because we're going to go back to these side bends here. And what we want to do is bring in the sides so that this point here goes in. Okay, and then that this will come over, and you'll have this square come down here. Alright, I'm going to show you that again. You're just going to take any one of your 4 sides, fold it up, and you want this point in the center. Push these 2 in so that this goes in. And then bend this up so that this square comes down here. Same on the other side, bend it in so that this square comes down here. Okay, same on this side. Bend it in so that square, that tip goes in, and that this square comes down here, and this square comes down here. Now you've got 3 of them. Then turn it again. Bring this side up. Make sure that you push on these 2 sides so that this tip goes down, and then bring this square in. Okay, and now that we've got these 2 here and we've done that practice, now we're going to hold these 2 down and we're going to bring this side up, and we're going to bring the whole thing together and push it down. Okay, and then here you're going to want to push out all of your score marks there. Okay, and there's only one last step. Then all we're going to do is take each one of these 4 and fold it straight out to its own end, out to the corner there. You'll have 4 of those. Fold them down. Use your bone folder if you want to. And that's it. And then it'll all open up. Okay, next thing I'll do is I'll give you the measurements to put all the little pieces on. Okay, for those of you who want to go ahead and finish up the project on your own, you need 1 sheet that's 5.5 by 5.5. 2 sheets that are 5.25 by 5.25. And then for the center of the card, 1 sheet that's 5.75 by 5.75. And one for on top that's 5.5 by 5.5. For those of you who are following along with me, go ahead and cut your first piece at 5.5 by 5.5. And we're going to go ahead and cut these into 4 triangles by lining up the tips on our cutter on either side, and then line up the edge and the tip here and cut from the edge down. Same with this one, line it up on the edge so that the tip hits the cutting edge and cut down. You'll end up with 4 of those pieces. Now set those aside. Make sure you don't confuse these 5.5 by 5.5 ones with the 5.25, because the 5.25, 2 pieces at 5.25 by 5.25, you're going to cut these even further. So line these up the same way you did the other one, but this time we're going to cut all these down to 8 pieces instead of 4. So once you get them in half, you're going to cut them in half again. That's 2. 4. 6. And 8. And you're going to do the same thing with this one. So I'll cut that one and I'll be right back. So when you're done cutting those pieces, you should have 16 small pieces. And those were cut from the 5.25 by 5.25. And you should have the 4 larger ones that were cut from the 5.5 by 5.5. Okay, and then for the inside center of the card right here, again we need a larger piece that's 5.75 by 5.75, and then a slightly smaller piece for on top that's going to be 5.5 by 5.5. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those down. If you're the type of person that likes to do sentiment first and get all the stamping out of the way before you glue down, in case you make a mistake, feel free to do that. And then these larger ones, we're going to open our card up fully. These larger 4 ones are going to go right here on the inside ones. And then all these little ones obviously are going to go each on every single one of these other little triangles. Okay, and the reason why I'm not going to show you gluing all these down is because if you've got double-sided paper, you could decide exactly how you want these to look. You know, do you want to do that color on the outside and that color on the inside, or do you want to flip these around and do every other one green? That's totally up to you. Another idea that you can do, which I did on one of mine, was to take some of these and put them through your embossing folders and give them texture. You can ink them, you can ink the edges, you can do all sorts of things. So I'd rather leave this up open-ended so that your creativity can flow into your own project. And I'll see you guys next video. I'd also like to give a special shout out to Dawn Griffith, who is Dawn's Stamping Thoughts here on YouTube. And she is the one that I found the napkin fold card tutorial on originally. So big shout out to Dawn. She's one of the very first YouTube people that I ever subscribed to, and I still watch her videos. So thanks, Dawn.